This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather and Connie Chung.
Good evening. Connie's off tonight. The new Republican majority in Congress took a big step today on its legislative agenda to demolish or damage government aid programs, many of them designed to help children and the poor. House Republicans today approved more than $17 billion in spending cuts for this year, and that's just for openers. CBS News Chief Washington correspondent Bob Schieffer has the latest from Capitol Hill.
Mr. Chairman, the American people have waited too long for fiscal sanity.
And with that, House Republicans rammed through the biggest cutback in spending ever. They cut more than $17 billion, previously approved but not yet spent, out of this year's budget. Money earmarked for everything from housing and rental assistance to the poor, which took a $5 billion hit, to aid for welfare mothers and teenage summer jobs programs, which were cut back $2 billion. School aid was cut back $1 billion, public broadcasting and the arts $146 million. But that was just the start. At the House Budget Committee, Republicans were ramming through another $100 billion in cuts they hope to enact over the next 5 years. Specific programs to be cut will be announced later, but Democrats said it was kids who would be hurt most.
We think you should not cut Healthy Start. We think you should not eliminate summer jobs for 610,000 kids around the country.
These cuts are a dagger pointed at the hearts of our children. We can't condone it. We can't allow it.
With Democrats taking that line, Republicans countered with kids of their own to say what will really help them is cutting their parents' taxes, as Republicans have promised.
I noticed the one-year-old who was standing there a short time ago was applauding when...
In spirit, anyway, but you get the idea.
We must stand tall for the American family.
No disagreement on that, but some Senate Republicans are worried about cutting children's programs, while others are nervous about cutting taxes while the deficit is growing. So this battle is a long way from over. Bob Schieffer, CBS News at the Capitol.
For his part, President Clinton again portrayed the Republican agenda as radical and reactionary, designed to hit up the poor to bankroll tax cuts for the rich. More about that now from Rita Braver at the White House. Rita?
Well, Dan, the White House was expecting that the bill would pass on spending cuts through the House, and they're hoping it will be watered down in the Senate. But even some of the president's top aides were surprised by his low-key response today.
In my view, is they cut too much of people and not enough pork.
It was Mr. Clinton's chief of staff who responded to the question of whether the president would veto the bill.
There's no question that if that bill is in its present form as it passed the House came here, that the president in fact would veto it.
And while the House was trying to gut some of his pet programs, the president and vice president were on a field trip to a print shop. The event staged to announce a new White House plan to cut government regulations. The president's philosophy:
protect people, not bureaucracy. Promote results, not rules. Get action, not rhetoric.
For example, Mr. Clinton will allow small businesses to waive 100% of any fine for violating a regulation, if the money is used instead to correct the mistake. Local governments and utilities will get more flexibility in complying with air and water pollution rules. And drug manufacturers will be allowed to improve their products without costly government reviews. Of course, all of this is in part a White House effort to do an end run around a massive Republican plan to cut back on all government regulations. But Republicans were not impressed today. They said that the president's proposals were late in coming and not very meaningful, Dan.
Rita Braver at the White House, thanks. There will be no independent counsel named to investigate President Clinton's transportation secretary, Federico Pena. That word tonight from Attorney General Janet Reno. The Justice Department closed its inquiry of Pena, saying it found no credible evidence of any ethics violation. At issue is a contract awarded to a firm connected to Pena. Detective Mark Furman has completed his testimony at the O.J. Simpson trial, at least for now. In a final round of questioning today, lawyers for the people tried to convince the jury it really would not have been possible for Furman to frame Simpson. And as Bill Whitaker reports, the courtroom behavior in this criminal case has turned a little more civil.
Yesterday, fights and name-calling. Today, court-ordered apologies.
And I do extend to Mr. Bailey my apology for the the extreme nature of the exchange yesterday. I don't anticipate that happening again.
I was caught off guard with that accusation.